What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. I hope everybody's having a great day. Folks, I said I had a moon video for you. Here it is. Now, this one's probably one of my favorites because of a couple of anomalies that are above the astronaut and the fact that there's some hidden things and shapes and stuff like that on the ground as well. Now, anybody who's been following me for a while knows exactly what I'm talking about. This is from Apollo 14, and of course, as always, you guys will get the link. Now, what I find interesting is, what is this astronaut looking at? Let's just jump right into it. All right, you can see it right here. It is from flickr.com. You can see it right here. The ID number is AS14-66-9301HR. Now, if you look at this photo, this is really interesting. You can see these blue lights up in the sky. Now, they can say, well, some kind of lens flare or something like that, but there's also one on the other side to the right of it. Folks, check this out. There's a dual of blue lights in the sky. Now, I've never seen this actually explained. In other words, if they thought it was some kind of lens flare or whatever it may be, because you would think they would just take it out of the sky, right? But there's another right here. Now, just to give you a heads up, what I did was enhance this in the sky. And you'll see the actual astronaut disappear because I went a little further, try to see what was around him, because there's some interesting shapes on the ground, although they're a little vague, but you can see them. Okay. Let's just jump right into Photoshop, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you can see it right here. Now we're going to go ahead and zoom into this. Again, dual blue lights, not just one kind of weird, funky light from off in the distance and kind of glaring onto the lens or any of that sort, and you have another one. Here's an observation for you. And I said this in the video a long time ago when I had done this. What is this astronaut actually looking at? Because you can see this camera's kind of facing up in the air, right? If you look at the view that he's pointing at, what are we seeing here? Look carefully where he's pointing this thing, okay? Now, even if I'm wrong, and it could be a little bit more in that direction, either way, this astronaut is not looking on the ground. He's looking above the horizon. So what's on the horizon? That's the interesting part, right? So, folks, what I started to do is just take a look at this background a little bit more, right? And I noticed this weird straight line doing this. Then I noticed this, what looks like some kind of weird triangle type thing. Then I noticed other small lines, folks. Check this out right here. You can see it coming down like this. At least that's the way it looks. There's a black dot or some kind of detail in between them. But there's so much more, folks, right here. Okay? So let's get into it. So I started really getting into this photo, folks. And this is not just normal lunar surface, right? And I get a little bit further in this, but check out the little details. You can use your magnifier or jeweler's eyepiece, whichever you have. Folks, check this out. Again, the little lines. Right there. Looks like it's kind of boxed off kind of thing. See it? We have all these little details in here. You can check that out. Also notice the shape right here. Going like this, coming down, but it appears to be that weird triangle piece like I was saying earlier. Okay, you can see that. Let's back out. Now let me show you what I have here that I had done in the video a while back, and this is pretty neat for those who have not seen this. Check this out. This makes a little bit more sense, and if you notice, there's more than these two. You have one over here, like I showed you earlier, and one really faint over here, right there. Okay? Notice, as I said before, the astronaut is now gone. What happens is when you do an equalization on this photo, what happens is this really turns white, right? And then when you try to bring out the other pieces in this background, you adjust it, and this is what ends up happening. What I found interesting about this is that if I do this, have a look at these pieces right in here. You can see what looks like a weird, like square type piece. Try to straighten that out a little bit more. And it appears to actually be off the ground. Notice this piece here has what looks like a circular face to it or front to it. Okay? this other small piece in the back, right here. And just to the right of the astronaut, check these pieces out right here. Looks like we got like a square with some cutouts and a little piece right here on top of it. Again, these are very vague, hard to find, but they are in fact there, right? Okay. Now this photo alone shows that there's something over this lunar horizon, and I don't believe that's a Terminator at all. I think there's much more to it, and you can see this, what appears to be structures in the background. Now you have this brighted area, and you can see that doing this, but you also see it on this side to the left of it. Okay, so it's not just some weird lens flare, okay? So we got that. And then I decided to go more into the background. And I'm going to just go ahead and zoom in and pull out any line we can. And folks, check this out. Again, we have that straight line. And you can see the straight line just about curves right there and then goes straight out this way. You can see this other piece coming up, going across, back down. You can see what looks like that weird triangle kind of thing in here. Okay. Also notice the other lines on the right. Check that out. These pieces right here. I say that this is not where this ends. I say there's much more in the background here. Hence the actual giant structures. And again, this cameraman, there's no way he's looking at the very bottom here, like on the Terminator here. He's not looking at that. He's looking over this. That's telling me there's much more in this background than they're leading on. If he was pointed like, I'm just going to do a sloppy job of this, but if he was doing something like this, you go, oh, okay, well, he's looking at the horizon. But what is so important that you're going to be way back there looking at the horizon or just the lunar surface? That doesn't make any sense to me, okay? It just makes more sense that there's something over this lunar surface, and I don't believe that's real at all. And what I mean by that is, like I said, there's something much more over this lunar surface. Again, here is what I believe are structures, and it makes more sense the way this thing is actually in. And what I mean these lights are in this area where it looks like something like glass structures or something of that sort, okay? And then, of course, we're going to go into the background again. Folks, just have a look at this with your magnifiers. Just look at the weird shapes in here. I'm going to get rid of these lines. Put it like that. Here's pretty much the whole photo. I'm going to show you one more interesting thing. And then we're going to jump off. But this one here, just these little pieces, and this is really hard to see, folks. It looks like there's supports or something underneath this thing. This is doing this. Down like this. Get it carefully. I'm going to go back and forth. You can see these little things. They're very, very faint, but they are in fact there. And again, all the other lines. And the reason why some of this doesn't make sense at all with the lines and everything, go, yeah, but why does it look like there's like half things here? Like, here's a perfect example. This over here to the left looks like this weird T-shaped object right here doing that. And again, we're not doing this straight, but you get the idea. It doesn't make sense. You say, well, why am I seeing like half things? Well, because this is not the actual end of the surface. There's something much taller and something much larger on the surface. Hence, these structures. I'll give you the whole picture. Check that out. Like I said, pause it any way you want. I'm going to turn this totally black and white, and no colors distracting your eyes. But have a good look. Just pan over slowly from left to right, especially this area. The more I look at this area right here, the crazier it gets. There's more little details in here than you can imagine. Just slowly go over it. Let your eyes settle into it. Look into the photo, not at it. And there you go. Folks, when I had done this video a long time ago, I was totally blown away what's on there, okay? Especially in the background over the lunar surface, right? And I don't believe that's where it ends. I really do not believe that. There's much more and something very large over the lunar surface or something on the lunar surface, because you can see the way that astronaut has got the camera pointed upward. He's not looking at some kind of weird crater on the ground or any of that sort. You can see he's kind of elevated up, looking over the horizon with something much larger over there. Really, really cool. And if I go back to this real quick, I'll just show you this briefly. Who's to say there's not something else much larger standing over here? We don't know. Have no idea. Just simply speculation here, folks. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Again, when I see this, these lights make more sense now. Is it possible it's a reflection off of something and somehow the camera flash just happened to hit it just right? Are these lights still glowing? The other question is, why would they leave it there? And again, I don't recall them ever saying, hey, by the way, this is what this really is, some kind of lens flare or whatever. But I still would not believe them, knowing that there's a bunch of something in the air. It looks like some kind of glass buildings or some kind of structure that they tried to take out. So that would not surprise me if they were in fact structures. And the fact that the astronaut's looking above the horizon tells me he's looking at something much larger and something that's on the ground that stands above it. Again, that's what makes me believe that there's something more to this photo. And again, just by enhancing that background, there's a bunch of little parts all over the ground back there in front of these structures or whatever they are. Folks, drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'm always anxious to hear what you got to say. And please like and share the video. It's always appreciated. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that YouTube shares it. Folks, got more coming up for you. Stay tuned. More Mars, more Moon. We'll see you in the next ones. Peace.